أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear friends, welcome to Idea Foundation Forum. Idea Foundation, under its Quranic research program, has started first serial program under title Allah, Quran and Insan. In the last program, part 7 of Man versus Iblis, we discussed prophetic mission with reference to Hazrat Jesus Christ. Today, we will continue our discussion on part 8 of Man versus Iblis, clash of good and evil with reference to post-Jesus Christ situation that necessitated renewal of the prophetic mission. Since the era of Hazrat Jesus Christ, the human society had tremendously changed in all its aspects. Human civilizations were evolving in material and intellectual domains both. The man's expanding needs had made him more mobile. Consciousness of his identity, rights, and creed was growing with the passage of time. Relevant to our discussion today, 7 social phenomena were driving the people of the land quite seriously to think of some major change which we will discuss shortly. The land we refer here were the territories of the present-day Middle East, Northern Africa, Mesopotamia, and some parts of Mediterranean region. It also included areas which were previously called the Fertile Crescent, and these happened to be the breadbasket for their imperial powers. Historically, these lands, especially the Mesopotamian region and Egypt, had been the cradle of the most of the ancient civilizations. Hazrat Ibrahim, Hazrat Moses, and Hazrat Jesus Christ delivered the divine message in these lands. Thus, Allah had blessed these lands with Jewish religion and Christianity rooted in the Abrahamic religions. Dear friends, despite remaining the center of the prophetic mission, the richness of geographic and natural resources of these lands made them attractive to the powerful imperial powers through the ages. Let us start from the fall of Babylon to the Persian king Cyrus the Great in 539 BC. Since then, these lands remained under control of the colonial powers, namely Babylonian, Persian, Greeks, and Roman. In the 5th century, the Middle East was under the control of 2 most prominent powers. The Sasanian or Sassanid Empire of the Persians was ruling the areas now comprising of Iran and Iraq, while the Byzantine Empire or the Roman Empire was ruling Anatolia and the eastern Mediterranean region of Western Asia, historically known as the Levant. These 2 areas under the Byzantine Empire included Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, and mostly the Turkey, most of the parts of Turkey. The 2 imperial powers had fought with each other, not for political dominance only. This long-drawn rivalry also had reflected their aims to establish their cultures and creeds in these lands. The Byzantines considered themselves champions of Hellenism and Christianity, whereas the Sasanians, Persians, considered themselves heroes of ancient Iranian traditions and of the traditional Persian religion, Zoroastrianism. Besides these two imperial powers, there had been some small power players who took advantage of the long drawn superpower rivalry. The Romans and the Persians both had been using Arab tribes as proxies to enhance their power. This usual practice of the superpowers encouraged Arab tribal confederations develop into client states for the great powers. One of the Ghassanid founded a kingdom comprising areas of the present day Jordan, Syria, and Palestine, which served as a buffer zone for the Roman Empire. Other, the Lakhmids, founded a kingdom in southern Mesopotamia, which served as a buffer zone for the Persians. Both Arab kingdoms were greatly influenced by their overlords, those superpowers, who spent heavily on keeping their vessels well equipped in the face of the enemy. Yet, the constant warfare between the two sides had slowly worn down all the four parties. By the early 7th century, the Romans and Persians were exhausted by decades of warfare and were weakening behind a facade of militaristic power. To the south of the Arabian Peninsula, there were other two rival powerful kingdoms of Aksum in Abyssinia, which is now modern Ethiopia, and the kingdom of Himyarite, which is modern Yemen. Based high in the Abyssinian mountains, Aksum allied with the Byzantine Empire due to Christianity being the common religion, was a powerful trading state that had influence on the inland African kingdoms, the Indian Ocean trading routes, and the Arab merchants of the Arabian Peninsula. While in the regional power game, the Sasanian Empire assisted Yemen. The conflicts between the kingdoms of Aksum and Himyarite in 525 AD in fact displayed a higher power struggle between the Romans and Persians for control of the Red Sea trade routes. Territorial wars between the Byzantine and Sassanids became more frequent and lethal. Anatolia, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Egypt were held by the Roman Empire since long. But in 603 AD, the Sassanians or Persians conquered Damascus and Egypt, which were regained by Roman Emperor Heraclius in 628 AD. So, dear friends, now we come to the Arabian Peninsula. Mecca and Medina, which was previously known as Yathrib, were the part of dry mountainous landscape of the Hijaz, situated in the western part of the Arabian Peninsula. The peninsula, covering an area of over 2 million square kilometers in the southwestern corner of Asia, was connected with Asia, Africa, and Europe. Despite its strategic location, it had been mostly ignored by outsiders due to its topography and climate. The ancient Egyptians chose to expand into the Fertile Crescent and Nubia rather than venturing into Arabia's deserts. Likewise, Alexander the Great passed by it just close of the Arabian Peninsula in 300 BC on his way to Persia and India. The great Roman Empire attempted to invade the peninsula through Yemen in the 20s BC, but could not adapt to the harsh landscape and thus failed to annex this region with its empire. Since the internal harsh environment did not support permanent livelihood and settlement, the mobility within and outside the peninsula was a common feature of the people of this land to find the means of livelihood. Economic and security compulsions compelled the people live in clans and tribes and frequently travel to the neighboring countries for trading. Thus, despite deep isolation of the region, the people were aware of the socio-economic and political conditions in the neighboring countries because of trading. Since the trading required huge investment and strong security cover, it was mainly carried out by affluent people, rich people. Therefore, it kept deepening the socio-economic and political split in the society. Dear friends, after this historic perspective, now we will discuss 7 social phenomena which had cropped up from the centuries-old suppression of the people by the imperial powers, the wealthy local elites, and clergy, which were growingly becoming irritants for the populace, and they had started looking for some true salvation. The first was the feeling of long drawn servitude under the tyrannical rule of the colonial powers for the last more than 12 centuries. The colonial power, namely Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans, had been ruling most of the Middle Eastern and Mediterranean countries. With the growing interaction with the ruling societies, inspired the local populace with the value of freedom. Their aspiration for freedom further heightened when they started realizing that the sustainability of the imperial hold was obliged to the local resources and manpower. Secondly, sons of the soil felt their Arab identity had been lost in the debris of the multiple imperialist cultural assaults. Kingdom of Ghassanid and Lakhmids were the major attempts to recover and restore the Arab identity, but their role remained shadowed as they couldn't rise above the status of the client states or vassals, respectively, of the Byzantine and Sassanid colonial powers. Thus, they failed to bring freedom and Arab identity to their people. Thirdly, persistent colonial rule and power struggles among the changing colonial masters had caused perpetual drain of the local resources out towards the imperial lands or their wastage in the wars of power struggle among the colonial masters. Moreover, underdevelopment of the colonized regions suited to the interests of the colonial powers for ensuring their tight grip over the impoverished subject. Thus, the people were becoming conscious of missing opportunities of development and advancement which were evident in the free world. Fourthly, throughout the colonial rule of all the foreign rulers. Effective governance over the colonized lands could be materialized by creating a small but powerful elite class and regimentation. Please remember, regimentation of the clergy, like the priesthood of the Temple of Jerusalem. They had been the strong pillars of colonialism of the lands and executors of the tyrannical rule of the imperialist masters. This political setup led to such public policies which helped concentrate the power and wealth in the hands of politico-religious elites. It had grossly created socio-economic inequity in the societies around. The vast majorities of the people were kept impoverished, ignorant, and suppressed to ensure perpetuation of their exploitative rule. As a result, the feeling of deprivation and socio-economic disequilibrium was at its height. Dear friends, fifthly, the obscurities in the religious domain had created a strange intellectual syndrome. Hazrat Ibrahim, Hazrat Moses, and Hazrat Jesus Christ had delivered the divine message in these lands. Thus, Allah had blessed these lands with Jewish religion and Christianity rooted in the Abrahamic religion. Oneness of Allah and the concept of the hereafter had been the central lesson of these religion. But religious and cultural invasions of the imperial powers over the centuries, loss of original texts of the divine scriptures, and dogmas and doctrines inducted by the dominant clergy and priesthood, suiting their socio-religious hold and serving the peculiar interests of the ruling elite, all together had left the believers in the religious bewilderment and chaos. The Jewish religion was totally in disarray even before the arrival of Prophet Jesus. The Greek influence of the Egyptian Ptolemies had produced a division among Jews. Some had turned Hellenized and became more Greek culturally and religiously, adopting syncretistic approach. They were called Sadducees. The other group of Ptolemies maintained its Hebraic traditions and culture. They were known as Pharisees. But in 204 BC, the control of Palestine shifted from Egyptian Ptolemies to Syrian Seleucids rulers, who decided to abolish Hebraic traditionalism to stamp out Jewish religion, and they adopt Hellenization for greater integration of the empire. They even ordered to place idols in the Temple of Jerusalem. At the birth of Prophet Jesus, religious life had centered on the powerful priesthood of the temple, represented by 4 divergent sects. A very long pause of prophetic mission and consecutive rule of foreign colonial powers for about 6 centuries had caused the Mosaic religion corrupted significantly. The original text of Torah, did not exist anymore. However, available Torah comprised of 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, based on the rabbinical teachings of the law and traditions and commandments of the elders. which suit to the interest of the ruling elite and the priesthood of the temple. Though the majority of the Jewish believers had been deprived of the original diction of the Mosaic message, but the echo of the oneness of Allah could be heard in the pulse of their heart. Prophet Jesus was crucified by Pontius Pilate of the Roman Empire between 34 and 35 AD. Earlier we were discussing Jewish religion. Now we are talking about Christianity. Prophet Jesus was crucified by Pontius Pilate of the Roman Empire between 34 and 35 AD, as described in Gospels of the New Testament. However, the persecution of his followers grew in intensity ceaselessly with the passage of time. During the Great Persecution in the years 303 to 311 AD, the Roman Emperor ordered the buildings and homes of the Christians torn down and their sacred books collected and burnt. Christians were arrested, tortured, mutilated, starved, and condemned to gladiatorial contests to amuse spectators. However, the trend reversed during the reign of Constantine in the year 306 AD, who adopted Christianity as his religion. Some scholars alleged that his main objective was to gain unanimous approval and submission to his authority from all classes, and therefore he chose Christianity as a political tool, believing that it was the most appropriate religion that could fit with the imperial cult. Probably his belief was based on the historical experience that how conveniently the holy books of the New Testament could be written and rewritten and amended according to the needs of the time in the past. 4 Gospels are considered to be the core holy books of the New Testament as part of the Bible. These are partially based on the letters of St. Paul, known as epistles, written and circulated around the churches 50 AD. Historians believed that the Paul's letters inspired many others to write such more letters, which too were attributed to Paul for their authenticity. Thus, these letters and the oral traditions within the church form the substance of these Gospels, of which the earliest is Mark, which was written around 70 AD, means 40 years after Prophet Jesus. The other 3 Gospels, Matthew, Luke, and John, were written at different times by different authors. All the 4 books cover the life of Jesus with many similarities, but sometimes contradictions in their portrayals. Each is considered to have its own political and religious agenda linked to authorship. Moreover, there had been several subsequent additions, revisions, and deletion of books under the title of Bible, containing variant views on different important aspects of Prophet Jesus Christ's life and his commandments. Currently, the King James Bible is possibly the most widely known edition of the Bible, which was firstly printed in 1611 by the approval of James I as an authorized version in the face of political pressure from Puritans and Calvinists demanding church reforms and calling for complete restructuring of church hierarchy. Like the New Testament, Old Testament had also been subjected to numerous revisions in the post-Jesus era. One such was even during the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century. Books not originally written in Hebrew but Greek, such as Judith and Maccabees, were excluded from the Old Testament. These are known the Apocrypha and are still included in the Catholic Bible. Oneness of Allah and His absolute sovereignty was the most explicit and the essential divine message communicated by prophets Abraham, Moses, and Jesus Christ, which had been corrupted by making the status of Prophet Jesus Christ controversial under the misleading concepts of Trinity. The doctrine of the Trinity held that the Godhood consists of three co-eternal and co-substantial persons: the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. The three persons are distinct, yet are one substance, essence, or nature. Later on, this doctrine got several variants, like non-Trinitarianism, Arianism, Binitarianism means one deity in two persons. Then Monarchianism means no plurality of persons within God. Then modalistic monarchianism, one deity revealed in three modes. Unitarianism, one deity in one person, etc. These concepts had been inducted in Christianity in the 3rd century AD. Moreover, with the adoption of Christianity by Constantine, it had become political manipulative tool of the Roman Empire. Thus, to identify the purity of Christianity had become impossible. Sixthly, to eliminate any possible threat to their rule and maintain status quo, the rulers and their local accomplices had been applying most barbaric and tyrannical tools of governance to suppress the people, denying any kind of human rights of the civilized society. With the intellectual growth and awareness, people at large had started realizing inhuman strategies of the rulers like economic inequities, divide and rule, social injustices, rule of fear, terror and chaos, etc. Seventhly, frequent foreign invasions and expanding trade over the centuries had brought greater integration among the societies of the East and the West in socio-cultural and political economic terms. Under such evolving human civilization at the global scale, fragmented and corrupted Abrahamic religions were not providing matching divine guidance to the emerging needs. Thus, these were the circumstances warranting restoration of the Abrahamic religions in originality that could also meet the globalized needs of the human society. So, dear friends, we close our discussion here. In the next session, we will discuss the arrival of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to address the said prevailing situation. Dear friends, these programs are recorded both in Urdu and English. Their videos can be watched on ideafoundation.com.pk website or its YouTube channel and Facebook. Their written versions are also available on the Idea Foundation's website. Please note code number of this program Idea 1A R3 Part 8. All friends are requested to subscribe the Foundation's YouTube web channel for the benefit of this noble cause. Thank you very much for your participation and patient listening. Allah Hafiz.